What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here, and we are playing some Watcher of Realms. Today's video is all about Guild War. There's been a change to Guild War. If you didn't already know, we've started the new season of Guild War. We are on the first day of it, right? We're in that prep phase for the first situation. With that has come a slight change to your garrisons. And I wanted to quickly go over that so that you can see what that looks like. So you'll see that this is my current setup, and I'm really excited to kind of show you some of the changes that we've made to our setup here, but also to, show off this change that they've done. So we'll go ahead and hop into this first team. And I want you guys to notice that my setup is completely different than normal. I don't know if this is going to be a good setup, for the record. I have no idea. What I can tell you is that the bottom area here has remained the same. However, in the top area on the platforms, we are missing something. You'll notice that we are missing this platform right here, which changes the entirety of this Guild War, right? It's completely different. And so I think what we're going to see here is we're probably going to see a little bit of change in the meta when it comes to placing, because we do want to keep in mind that those soldiers, those archers, are still going to hit your platform units if there is not a tank that is in front of them. And because of these bottom platforms, right, the ground platforms, you can't really use these two here super safely. And so because of that, I think we're going to see a slight change in defensive placements. One of two things is going to happen here. Either one, I think we're going to see a lot more ground units being used because the platform units are not nearly as strong. And so we could see a slight change in regards to that. Personally, what I think I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be placing my main tank up here to slow down the enemies, and then placing my ranged DPS in this first slot so that as the enemies start to pour through, right, as they pour through my Baron, my Zillow will be able to clean them up. That's kind of my sort of goal here, my plan. And then, of course, we have one DPS here for the platform that's going to be able to hit the targets that are on Baron. We have a second DPS that's going to be able to help clear with Zillow, and then we have our healer healing everybody except Morrigan over here. And that's because Morrigan hopefully doesn't get hit. We'll have to see how that works. If she does, we may move her. And in fact, let's actually go ahead and move her now, because I just realized this is probably the safer option, is actually putting her here, because now she's in healing range and she'll still hit a good chunk of, where they're going to be. So I think we might do that instead. I think that makes a little bit more sense. But the biggest thing here is just you want to keep your healer range healing as many people as possible. Specifically though, you want them to heal your tank. If they're not healing your tank, you're going to die, right? Personally, I think that this is probably the best way to go, just like with my first initial reaction. Let's take a look at the second one here. So this is my second setup. I need to replace some gear on these champions, but this is my second setup, and I think this is another possibility that we may end up seeing, and it's going to be specifically when you have a really powerful platform unit. So for example, Boreas hits a lot of people. He has a very large range, and so because of that, I think we're going to see some viability with him being a almost solo DPS. Now, of course, I am using a Valkyra here, and the reason I'm using her is because she has A1. If she didn't have A1, I don't think she would be really good in this situation, because of how this whole thing works, right? Because of the fact that her A1 gives her this extra range, she's going to be able to hit the targets when they're in front of Oleg. If they weren't, you'd have to put your main tank in this second slot, which means your platform unit would no longer be viable because they would just get hit by the archers. There is, of course, some other ways that we could possibly do it, right? Like there is a chance that maybe we could put like our Vortex here and they would be able to heal our Oleg, and then we could put our Boreas here and he would be able to hit people. The problem with that is that Boreas can't basic attack this square in this situation. And even though his basic attack is very minimal, I think that this is going to be slightly more effective for the time being. We'll have to see what comes of it, but I think it's going to be slightly more effective. I also just want to do a quick little update about our demon soldiers here, because we haven't actually been here in a while. So one of the biggest things that's happened is we actually picked up this legendary lightning guard, and he's actually been really helpful when pushing in certain team comps, because I'm starting to fight people that aren't making the sort of quote unquote bad mistakes that a lot of people were making in the lower level guild wars, where you're able to just easily pick them off with your archers. In fact, I find myself using archers quite a bit less recently. I found myself using our axe boy here, the axe slaughterer, a lot more. I'd really like to be able to get him upgraded. Unfortunately, I've been really unlucky with being able to get copies of him, but being able to pick up more copies of him, and the fact that I finally got my hands on the healer, has made it so that I'm able to do basically like a super tanky comp with these axe boys kind of hitting really hard. We did also recently pick up the Merkling Menace, which, if I remember correctly, is a relatively new soldier. I'm not sure how I feel about him yet. I haven't had a chance to try him. He seems interesting though. Basically just another like range type champion. Could be interesting. We'll have to see how everything kind of shakes up. And we're really kind of not using these blue guys down here anymore. We do still occasionally use the hounds, right? We use that hound. Sometimes we'll use this hound. But most of the time I find myself using this axe guy as my main DPS, and actually just cutting through their ground units and being able to go from there with the help of the heals from the scale skin shaman, and then last minute additions of lightning guards for getting those last couple hits off. But ultimately, I think that this change to the garrison placements is going to actually make a pretty big impact in overall play. Another thing that's really important is this right here. So before, we had 120 health, if I remember correctly, leading us to 240 overall HP, which means that we're gonna only have to lose 3 times unless they reduce the amount we lose, which, let's see if I can find that, because maybe they have changed that. Let's see, is there a place? I'm not sure if there's a place that explains it here. Guild War Seasons, Battle Phase. Let's see if we can find it. I'm not seeing it here. So they might have reduced the overall costs. Sorry about that. They might have reduced the amount that you lose per battle. I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing that anywhere, but I also haven't been paying super close attention to everything. But let's see. Select any undefeated garrison team to attack. Okay, breach the soul core 3 times to claim victory. Okay, yeah. So I'm not seeing... Oh, yeah, wait, here it is. HP deduction defeated 30. There we go. So, yeah, so you only have to actually beat a defense 3 times now instead of 4, which can be very helpful because, again, you can't actually access these main areas until everything has been cleared, right? So everything is a little more safe, a little more protected, etc. So we'll have to see what happens, but I think it's going to be a good change. I am a little interested if the changes for the platforms is going to continue to change. Like, are we going to get new maps? Are we going to get different tile sets on the same map? There could be a lot of things that happen, and I'm really excited to see what happens and how that kind of shakes up the meta. I do like that they're changing this, though, because the fact that we have this, sort of like, what is it, 2 months, roughly 2-month season is going to be really good, I think, for swapping things around every 2 months, because you're going to see some older champions maybe make some extra play because of the new tile set. Could be really interesting. But overall, guys, what do you guys think about the GVG changes? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below with maybe what your setup is looking like. I'm very interested. Also, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you liked the video, and hit that subscribe button to see more content from me in the future. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.